Hello, everybody. Welcome to EMP Review for today, which is Wednesday, August 4th of 2021. We've made it to August, Brandy. How are you, Chef?
I'm doing well, Chauncey. Yes, we have. How are you doing today?
Good. You know, they call this the slow month. We'll see how slow it is because we have a special topic theme for the month. Before we get to that, though, let's talk about Entrepreneur Meal Plan. Brandy, give us the lowdown.
Yeah, so Entrepreneur Meal Plan is a community for business owners looking to do business and life well. What do we do here? We help you to power your profits and productivities with plants. We give you meal plans, shopping lists, recipes, cooking demos, replays, amazing people who are doing the same thing that you're doing, and resources to make your journey a lot more enjoyable. So that's what we do here at Entrepreneur Meal Plan. Until the end of this month, the month of August. August is a special month for us. We turn 1 year old officially on August 17th. And through the end of the month, we're going to keep our $30.23 per quarter rate. After that, however, it goes up to $30.23 per month. So if you want to get into the Entrepreneur Meal Plan universe before and save a couple of bucks that you could invest in other spots in your business, join us before the end of the month. Regardless, the investment that we give you guys, the investment that we ask of you rather, is like so much little compared to the value that this community offers. So either way, we would love to have you, but we would love to have you more before the end of the month.
Yeah, exactly. You said save a little bit. I mean, you better get in on this when you can. I'm gonna tell you that. So next it'll be $30.23 a day.
A
So
day,
you better
right?
get in on it.
Evolution, people, and inflation, right?
So with that said, our theme for this month of August is exploring eggplant. What?
Yeah, eggplant. Something that people, like you say,
Yeah.
exploring eggplant. It's something that most people aren't really into. I will say, growing up, I don't remember having eggplant growing up. It was never one of the vegetables that showed up on my plate. But yeah, as I got older, you know, when you're exploring the plant-based space, you try to do everything, and eggplant's kind of fun.
Yeah, eggplant has become more popular lately. And you know, it's called aubergine in certain parts of the world. Sorry, it's
Yes,
called brinjal in other parts
and
of the world.
belanger in other parts of the world.
No, don't add to my list. No.
We're supporting each other, okay?
We are supporting each other. And you know, it cooking wise, we use it as a vegetable, but botanically it's a berry. Very interesting. And
Yeah.
it's in the nightshade family. So it's related to tomatoes, potatoes, chili pepper, even. So that's my download on eggplant.
Look at that.
Now,
Look at that. You know why it's become more popular lately?
no, tell us.
Because of the eggplant bacon craze.
I should have said don't tell us. You know, that was a mistake.
I knew you'd like that one.
Look, when I ate meat, I loved bacon. I did. And I do like certain plant-based bacon substitutes. So let's just leave it at that. Now, if you were here with us live, use the comment section. Tell us what you're thinking. Ask any questions. We'll get to them. But before that happens, we've got to see what today's recipe is. So, Brandy, you are giving us stacked eggplant parm with miso tahini cheese sauce. Now, wait a minute. Miso tahini cheese sauce on eggplant parm? What kind of crazy combination is that, chef?
I mean, it sounds crazy, but who has parm without cheese, right? Like that's kind of the piece that people love about the eggplant parm experience. So, you know, give you some cheese. And this is cool because it's a nut-free cheese.
Yes, it's tahini, so sesame seed.
Yeah, seed.
We have that. Yeah, I know a little bit.
Mm.
Now, the question is the stacked part. What does that mean? Well, before you say it, you're going to show it. So, Brandy, go ahead, get set up, and Brandy will be back with the stacked eggplant parm with miso tahini cheese sauce. We'll see you on the flip side, chef.
All right. All right, so we have eggplant today, eggplant stacked parm. So generally speaking, eggplant is just kind of flat in a pan with sauce and cheese on it, but the stacking part is kind of fun, and you can cook them a little faster. So that's kind of sort of how I came up with this, because as entrepreneurs, we don't have time to necessarily wait for the eggplants to cook all the way through. And so eggplant. If you haven't ever seen one of these, this is what an eggplant is. Super simple preparation. Wash it and then cut off the top. Really, really simple. Not a lot at all. Cut. Now, you literally slice these into medallions or discs, depending on what you want to call them. Some people even call them circles. Just slice them into pieces. And got a couple. So we cut 4 of them in this case. Now, what you're going to do is you are going to salt these. Now, the reason that we're going to salt these is not so much for the salt, but to be able to extract the water out of it. So before we started, I actually did some preparation, because you have to do that sometimes in the cooking world. And if you can see, I don't know if you saw that, just water just dripped from it. The salt extracts the water from these yummy discs. And what that does is allow us to get that crisp from the eggplant without having to fry it or add oil to it. So we take this moisture out so that we end up getting more of a bite by the end of this process. I just wanted to show you the simple kind of slices that you start with. And then we end up with these wet or dehydrated or less hydrated disc. And that happened by literally just sprinkling some salt on it. And that's pulling the moisture out again, so that we end up with a crispy finish. Now, say for instance, you're not in the mood for all this stacking and slicing and stuff. What I've also done before is create what I call the eggplant boat. So same preparation, but you would take this half of the eggplant that's left over, or if you just want to take the whole eggplant and cut it down the center. So imagine if this was together and you just wanted to cut it in half. Same thing, a little salt on it just to get some of that moisture out. Then you kind of drip it off and you put everything inside of the boat and stuff it into the oven. But we're going to focus on the discs today because we are stacking. So I am going to literally simple seasoning preparation, a little bit of garlic powder, on both sides, because we want our food seasoned on both sides, right? That's the beauty of seasoning. You gotta get it in there. I mean, I know there's always this thing like, oh, you really have to season food, vegetables, like more. But in general, it's just good practice to evenly distribute your seasoning. Literally, just some garlic, nothing too fancy. A little bit of Italian seasoning, classic Italian flavor profile. Italian seasoning is a blend of various dried herbs. In this case, we're talking dried oregano, thyme, basil, sage, savory, marjoram, and rosemary. So that is the blend that we're talking about right here. Bam, a little bit of that, and some breadcrumbs. Now, traditionally, I make breadcrumbs. How do I make breadcrumbs? I will literally take bread, put it into the toaster, and then put it into the blender. Happened to be at the grocery store though, and found this matzo meal style breadcrumb, which is kind of cool because you know why? The only ingredient in here is matzo flour and water. So it's perfect if you're talking about creating a plant-based, oil-free, milk-free experience with these crumbs. Now, a lot of times when you see breadcrumbs, a lot of people don't realize this. A lot of breadcrumbs have milk and oil in them. So if you are not interested in milk and oil in your egg crumb, these, and you happen to be close to a grocery that sells like this matzo meal type one, this is an option. Or totally toast, oat bread. Instead of throwing it away, instead of throwing it away, just toast it up, throw it in a blender, and then put it into an airtight container. All right, so that's how you end up not wasting and getting a breadcrumb that is more pure to exactly what the breadcrumb is. So literally just taking this breadcrumb out to give it a little bit of crisp. Now, some people will dip these in into a flax egg. Some people will dip them into a little bit of almond milk. I personally don't really go through the hassle of all of that because I'm going to put sauce in between it. So I don't really need to, I don't know. It's not that important to me for the preparation of these this time. But if for some reason you're wondering, how does the breadcrumb stick to the, to the disc? Sometimes you could literally just use a little bit of almond milk, or if you wanted to go through the process of making a flax egg, because traditionally you would dip these discs into an egg mixture and then into your breadcrumb mixture, and then traditionally you would fry them. But what we're doing, we're putting them into the oven. Now, those are going to go into the oven and do what they are going to do. And I am going to whip up a quick tomato sauce. So behind me, I have a pan. Right now, we're going to cut an onion, simple onion. This is just a white onion. Well, actually, this is a yellow onion. This is not a white onion. This is yellow onion. Now, whatever onion you have available, you can use. I have yellow, so that's what we are using today. I'm going to small dice these onions. I feel like onions are really a requirement in a good, quick, any sauce, but especially a quick sauce. It just gives us some extra flavor. So I'm going to cut these pretty small because I want them to cook down quickly, number one, because we want to make this a quick sauce. And in addition to that, I kind of want to have them play a role in this dish at the end. So I want them to not be so overwhelming, but still be present, right? So good old onion cutting. Now we've done a ton of videos with cutting onions with a close-up view where you really get to see the benefits of taking that time to prepare those inner cuts and those top cuts so that you end up with the even dices all the way across. And so just did that here. Yep. So take these now, put them into heated pan, and then get them back on the heat and let them cook down just a little bit. So we'll let them cook down. And then I'm also going to prep a little bit of garlic to go inside of there because that's another Italian staple, good old garlic. So we're going to put that in there. Like I say, this is a quick sauce. Now, Brandy, why aren't you just using a sauce from a jar? Can't we just do that? Totally, you can. But maybe you don't have a sauce from a jar available to you. Maybe the only sauces that you have in the jar in your neighborhood have oil and salt and all kinds of stuff. Maybe there's like cheese and the only bottle that's available on the counter or on the shelves rather at your store, but you really just have a hankering for some sauce, some good old traditional red sauce or gravy as they call it in those Italian mob movies. Totally just showing you a simple, quick way to make that happen. Just a little onion, garlic that I'm going to hold to put in closer to before I pour the tomatoes in. And there's a reason for that. The reason is we don't want to overcook our garlic. When you overcook garlic, it gets very bitter and that bitterness overtakes the dish. And that's the last thing that we want to do. So just going to cut this and hold it, right? While those onions kind of saute a little bit. This is literally just tomato sauce. This particular brand It says tomato sauce, a more accessible brand is called Pomi. They have different types of tomatoes. It's tomato, crushed tomatoes, chopped tomatoes, diced tomatoes. So if you're looking for a tomato alternative, not in a can, you don't feel like opening up a can, these box ones come in handy really, really well. And especially if you're just looking for, like I say, a quick sauce solution, this is a good tool for that. So while we're waiting, I'm also going to prep some basil because I feel like in a fresh sauce, because you're not really a fresh quick sauce, you're not really having that time for it to like cook down and mature and all of that kind of stuff. So you want to add this nice herby note at the end, but I'm going to prep it now so that it is ready to go. And as always, basil smells incredible. It is ready to go once the sauce is heated through. So just chopping up good old basil ribbons, putting them to the side. And I'm actually going to prep another set of ribbons for the finish of the dish. So I'm going to do another set. This one set, the first set's going to actually go into the sauce last. And then we're going to finish it with this good old basil as well. Fresh basil, like I say, one of my favorite flavors, favorite herbs, especially in Italian food. A lot of times though, with with eggplant parm, you see parsley more often, but I like basil. If you like parsley, you have parsley available, use that. You got to make things that you want to enjoy. So onions still need just a little bit more time to cook down before I add in the tomato sauce. So in the meantime, we're going to get this. What is this? This tahini cheese sauce that Chauncey was given the side eye to, understandably so, right? It's weird. What is this? What is this sauce? What are we doing here? This sounds absolutely insane. And remember, guys, when we're cooking food, especially in the plant-based space, all we are doing is leveraging the textures of plants, things that exist in the space, building in the flavor profile. We're trying to figure all of this stuff out. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that episode of Explained. So Vox Media and Netflix have this collaboration project called Explained, where they explain a whole bunch of different topics. And one of the ones that, of course, stood out to me was the episode when they talked about the future of meat. And they interviewed the person, the CEO, I believe it was, for Impossible Meats. And what was really exciting for me, because I always say this in the work that I'm doing, is how when we are building flavor profiles into food, it's not always what you think it's going to be. So when they were building the flavor profile for the Impossible Burger, they literally hooked people up to real pieces of meat, had them smell it for a period of 45 minutes, and then asked them, like, what sense did you kind of get here? They smelled everything from dirty diaper to burnt rubber to lilac to maple syrup, and things that we actually haven't fooled. So strike matches, all kinds of things. So when I'm always talking about building flavor into food, like if you really stop and you're present with your food preparation, you'll start to see, like, if you think about what it is and you can find those things that exist in the food space already, that you can build that particular flavor profile, and you can really recreate anything. And so I tell you this story to talk about how we got here with our good old tahini, our tahini miso sauce. So cheese. I always talk about with cheese, what are we trying to access? We're trying to access the stank. Like, you can get cheese sauce pretty good, but it's the stank, quote unquote, that really makes us believe in our minds and our mouths that it is actually cheese, right? So in this case, the miso plays that role. It's a little salty. It's fermented. So you get that, that bacteria stink that we're after. We know tahini gives us that nutty creaminess that we're after. Definitely got to use our friend nutritional yeast. And as you guys see, which is very rare on entrepreneur meal plan review is I am actually using a measuring device because this is a this recipe really in order to get the balance right, it's just easier to measure everything. So it's what is it? 4 tablespoons of tahini, 2 tablespoons of miso, 6 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, and then some water to blend it all together. Usually about 6 tablespoons, depending on once we get in there how everything starts to mix. So I'm gonna break this down right now. And before I start breaking it down, the onions are in here, they're ready. I'm gonna just pour in the good old tomato sauce. Quick tomato sauce. Get that going behind me. I'm also going to throw the garlic in. I'm going to hold the basil until the very end. While I'm mixing this sauce, I'm just going to literally let this, while I'm mixing the cheese sauce, I'm going to let the tomato sauce just heat up behind me, guys. Now, yes. So it's really something interesting about our good friend nutritional yeast when we're talking about these cheese sauces. I don't like nutritional yeast on its own. I know people who just like kind of put it on popcorn, not really my thing. But when you throw it into one of these cheese sauces or you leave it out of a cheese sauce, you really do miss it when you're building that flavor profile that we're after. Now this could have so much. It could have been a lot easier if we put this into a blender, but I kind of just wanted to I don't know, get my arms moving and just also show the alternative in the event that you don't have a blender. You could totally just use this bowl and spoon, good old bowl and spoon method to make it happen. Now definitely is a lot smoother in a blender. There's no arguing that. And a lot less labor intensive in a blender. Not arguing that either. But for the sake of just kind of getting it done and not having to clean the blender when it's all said and done, we are showing you how you can do this simply with your hand. So literally just mixing it up. And I am smelling the good old discs that are ready soon to be stacked. The sauce behind me is warm and bubbly, and I am about done with this cheese sauce. Now, when I stack this, I'm just going to kind of finish it with it. And generally speaking, when I make this, I will put it back into the oven. If I have it made in advance, sometimes I will literally just like take the slices, put sauce, like a layer of sauce, then the eggplant, then the sauce, then this cheese sauce in between, and then bake it all together and put the breadcrumb and spices and seasoning on top, and just kind of have it like more like a casserole, like a kind of a lasagna scoop. So just simple alternatives on this classic dish. So literally, I don't know if you guys could see, cheese sauce mixed together, really simple and tasty. Like it tastes like it tastes like cheese, which is what we definitely wanted to taste like. Now I'm gonna actually go and grab something else. I'm gonna add one of my favorite ingredients. I'm gonna put some smoked paprika in here. And I'm also going to grab some crushed red peppers. Other things, two other things that I really, really dig. So I like a little heat. I'm going to throw some good old crushed red peppers in there. Definitely some smoked paprika. But yeah, this is yummy. This would make a really nice, if you were doing, say, like a pasta spinach kind of dish, and you just wanted some type of creamy, nice sauce to go on it. Goes well with that too, because you're not going to use all of this in your dish, right? So let me check on the sauce. I'm going to turn off. I am also going to grab a plate. I'm going to shift some things around so that we can stack our stuff. So bam, bam. So we are going to do a little bit of sauce on the bottom of the plate. These are out. It's going to be easier on a close-up. You guys will get to see a lot better. We're going to be back in business with our overhead camera in the next couple of weeks. Just figuring some new configurations out in the kitchen. Put some sauce there. Have with some pasta sauce, or red sauce as we'll call it, or gravy, as like I say, they always say on the good old Italian movies. We're gonna do some of this cheese sauce. I'm gonna actually put the basil in the center of it too, so we kind of get that with the bite. You literally just stack it. Exactly. Eggplant stack. Put some sauce there. You put a little bit of the cheese sauce there. Then you're going to put some good old basil right in the center. And we stack it. And we're going to do 6 of them. We literally just repeat. Really, really simple process. Really simple process. Sauce. Red sauce. Fun cheese sauce, good old basil, right? Because we love basil. I'm only going to do 4 because you guys get it, right? You guys are business owners. You know how to follow directions, set up a system, and wash, rinse, and repeat, right? You're going to throw on some more sauce. The last bit of our cheese sauce. Make it kind of artistic. We're going to finish off with a little more basil. And I also made a little whole wheat thin spaghetti pasta because I really like pasta when I'm having what is this, like eggplant pasta, very Italian-y. So I'll just put a little bit of that on the side and a little bit of the sauce there as well. You can totally just eat this stack, but you're probably going to need a little more food. So that's how you could do it. A little bit of pasta right there. And then finish that off with some basil. All right, guys. So I am going to meet you back in a second to answer questions and give you a close-up of this dish. Talk soon.
All right. Very, very intriguing. Now I'm hungry. So let's hurry up and get through these questions. How dare you make me hungry? Now, first question for you, Chef. Why does stacking speed up the cooking process?
Oh, well, the stacking speeds up the cooking process because you cut them in thinner, smaller pieces instead of having like the big piece of eggplant. So it just makes it, because it's smaller, it cooks faster.
Yes. Okay. What are other plant foods that you should use salt to extract water?
Zucchini, squash, sometimes even potatoes, depending on your preparation. Sometimes if you're doing French fries, if you soak them in cold water with salt, it'll kind of pull out like the starch and give you a fluffier center with a crispier outside.
What about tomatoes? If you were to
fry
them, would you salt them first?
If I was going to fry, probably not. If it was a fried green, if it was a green one, so if it wasn't ripe, yes. But if it was just a regular one, no. Because it's just if you're frying a tomato, it's already too wet, and you actually don't want to make it more wet. And the juice from that tomato is what gives it its flavor. So you want to kind of keep that in there.
Interesting. Um, the oven, what temperature did you use?
425.
Um, if you're going for a jarred sauce, which brands do you recommend?
The one that I like out of the jar is what is that called? 365 has a no salt, no oil one that I really like. And I think they have like two flavors. And they have like a marinara one and like a tomato basil or something like that. So that's off
Yeah.
the top of my head. That's the one that comes to mind with like no salt, no oil, and tastes good out the jar.
Yeah, it's hard to get no salt and no oil out of there. You know, Trader Joe's has the mushroom one, but you won't get all of that. Pretty good, but not as good as you're saying if you're interested. Final question. Could you put the stacked discs in like a panini press or something similar to grill it a bit?
You totally could. You could also put it in a waffle maker. That's like a thing. People love turning stuff into waffles. You could totally put it into a waffle maker.
Yeah, potatoes and all the other
Yes.
kinds of stuff in the waffle maker. Interesting. Very interesting idea. Okay. So that is great. Before you show us the finished product, remind us why we're here, Brandy.
Y'all guys, we are here as entrepreneurs to remind ourselves how important it is to step away from our work and take some time to feed not only our business, but our bodies and our mind. Entrepreneur Meal Plan is a community all for entrepreneurs looking for ways to take care of their bodies as they're building their business. And every week we encourage you with our EMP review. That's what this session is called, to do just that. So that's why we're here. We're happy that you're here with us. We ask that you continue to come, that you share. And if you're like joining us live or if you're joining us in the replay, we appreciate the fact that you are giving back to yourself and supporting our community.
Yes, we do. And next Wednesday, we're back. That's Wednesday, August 11th at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, continuing to explore eggplant. So between now and then, continue to do life and business well. And let's see that dish, chef.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Later.
I'm sorry, I have to say that looks amazing. Bye.